Hello and welcome to this YouTube channel for ACCA FR exam prep. My name is Adam. In this video, I'll be taking you through how to account for gain or loss on the disposal of a subsidiary. Now let's look at the question. As always, starting with the requirement. What was the profit or loss on disposal to be recognized in the consolidated financial statement of AA Co? Now, here you need a pro forma. So, what I'll do is to know and build my pro forma. I know that the profit or loss on disposal should be the proceeds from disposal add NCI at disposal. So I'll have NCI at disposal. Then the total of these, we say less net assets at disposal and also goodwill at disposal. So the profit or loss on the disposal, which you recognize in the consolidated financial statement, this is how we find it. So let's go through the details to see how we can identify or calculate these items. Now, A acquired 70%, so NCI is 30%. In DB on 1st January 20X4 for 600,000. So that's the consideration. At that date, the fair value of net assets was 700. AA measures non-controlling interest at its share of net assets, so proportionate. So we use the proportionate method. Now on 31st of December, X6. So you mean X4, X3, X6. So 3 years after acquisition. So there is no time apportionment to deal with here. AA sold all its shares in BB for 950, and this is the process. And I can slot that here, 950,000. So at that date, the fair value of net assets was 850. So net asset at disposal, 850. And remember, this is always a deduction. Now let's build on. Goodwill was not impaired. So it means that we need to find a goodwill at acquisition. So a simple working here, let's say goodwill at acquisition. We know is the consideration, which was 600. NCI is their proportion of the net asset, and the net asset we were given to be 700 on that date. So, and 30% of 700, that should be 210. So we have 810 less net assets at acquisition, and that was 700. So the goodwill at acquisition should be 110,000. And if the goodwill was not impaired, it means that it is still the goodwill at acquisition value because there was no impairment. So the goodwill at disposal would also be 110. So we slot that also here. Now, the next thing to find is the NCI at disposal. So again, I'll do a very short workings here and say NCI at disposal is the NCI at acquisition, which we already have here to be 210. Then we take their share of post acquisition profits, or what you can say reserves. And the reserves would be a simple calculation, is that what is the net asset at the disposal that was given to be 850 less the net asset at acquisition 700,000 should give us the post acquisition profits and reserves. So the changes in the net assets post acquisition will represent the total post acquisition reserves. So here we multiply by the NCI percentage of 30, then we find their share. So 850 minus 700, that gives us 150 times 0.3, that is 45. So 45 plus 210, that is 255,000. 255,000. So if we slot that here, 255,000. So we can add up 950 plus 255. That gives us 1,205,000. So if we less the net asset 850 and then the goodwill 110, we are having 245, and it is positive, and that is profit. So there is profit. So you can say profit on disposal, not a loss. If it were negative, that would have been a loss. So from the option, this would be the answer. The option C will be the answer. So remember the pro forma. In finding the profit or loss on disposal of a subsidiary, we have to look out for the proceeds from the disposal. We add the NCI at the disposal date to it. Then we deduct the net asset at disposal and goodwill at disposal. So if there was any impairment of the goodwill, it means that the goodwill value will reduce at the date of disposal by the amount of the impairment loss. Take note of that. Now, just a quick knowledge to add up to this gain or loss. If it were the individual account of AA Co, the calculation of the profit or loss would have been different. How? It is basically the process. Please take note of this. Process less cost of investment, and the cost of investment is the consideration paid at acquisition. Please take note of that. The consideration paid at acquisition. So here, if we know the proceeds to be 950 and the consideration was 600, the profit or loss here, which is profit, would be 350. So we'll have 350 profit. And please, you would see that this calculation is different. So one thing you would meet in multiple choices that you are likely to have the 350 as part of this option, and that makes it difficult to get the answer. And if you don't pay attention to the fact that it is asking for the profit or loss to be recognized in the consolidated financial statement. So 1, consolidated financial statement, 2, the individual financial statement of the period. Please take note of this. I hope this illustration helps you in the preparation for your FR exam. Please subscribe to this channel to receive updates on new videos.